development. I mean, yes, I am an actor, I am a singer, but I also have two companies, Need Face Records and Lee Bell Film Productions. And I currently, there's a museum not too far from where I live. It's a museum of Howard County history. And they asked me to do a year-long retrospective of my films, because most of them were filmed in that area, and we're about halfway through it now. We have, it's called Movies at the Museum, and we go once a month, and we show a feature film and a couple short subjects. And matter of fact, Saturday we have one coming up that was postponed from a couple weeks ago because we had a big snowstorm here, and that's going to run all the way through May. And then February the 7th, I have the premiere of Bill Tillman and the Outlaws. Now, I just have a supporting role in that. That's not one of my films. That's One-Eyed Horse Productions, Wayne Shipley directing. But there is several Hollywood people in that, and they're having a big premiere just outside Washington, D.C. But Robert Carradine is in that, who starred in Revenge of the Nerds. Lana Turner, of course, everybody knows her sister Natalie, but Lana also was a Bond girl, and Darby Hinton, who played Israel on the TV show Daniel Boone, and several other like B players in Hollywood. They're all in this Western, and I was lucky enough to be asked to come along for that, and we filmed on location in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. They built a whole Western town, and it was great. And I played bartender Sam in that. So apparently I haven't seen anything, but I did talk to the editor yesterday. I said, I don't even know if I'm in the film. He said, oh, you're in the film. You're walking here, walking there. You're walking in a place and walking out. And I do remember there was a scene in the church where I was singing, but I was more interested in what was going on outside, so I kept looking out the window. and that's about it. I really don't have a whole lot going on.
Well, that's interesting. You've had a long career and you're still at it, you know, and I'm sure you're busy with all your companies and all that, all your projects. So
I try to stay busy, and you know, I'm hoping to. I'm in talks now about getting another film going. We have a couple that are ready to be filmed, but it takes a while. There's a lot that happens before the camera starts rolling. You know, it's a lot of meetings, and sometimes they can be fun, especially if they have like donuts and coffee. But yeah, this is what I want to do, and this is what I do. You know, I love entertaining people, and I love being able to create something that takes people, you know, away from their troubles or worries or politics or whatever is bringing them down, and even if it's just for a short while. I'm really enjoying these movies at the museum. It's just 2 hours, and it's all free. They have free parking. It's free to get in, and they even have free, I want to say, dessert refreshments. And 2 hours, and we show the films, and we have question and answer, and then there's 20 minutes to a half hour where people can mingle, because there's always people who want to get autographs and take photographs. So we're doing pretty good with all that.
Yeah. Why stop if you enjoy it, you know? Keep on going, you know? That's what...
Oh, I don't know anything else. It just started as when I was young, 8 years old. And that's when the bug bit me, as they say. and I just love it, and I like being able to, help other people. Several of the artists that we've released on Neat Face Records, they went on their own and recorded albums and made CDs or whatever. and just had boxes of them down in the basement. So I approached them and I said, hey, listen, I could take your stuff and we could release it to the digital age. And basically we become partners. I said, I will spend my money to get the project going, and then we split any profits. And that seems very attractive to people who don't have a clue knowing how to, get your song distributed worldwide. So it feels good to be able to help others.
Yeah. It's a good feeling to help others and entertain people. Yeah, that's
yeah. Right. And I like that I've been able to combine my two loves, the music and movies, and I do them both. And even all of my films, we put plenty of music in there by the artist on the label. So it's really a great thing. And we have a lot of fun when we shoot the music videos. Some of our most popular music videos, we shot so fast. We were just discussing one the other day. We shot this one. We spent about an hour in my living room and had the artist with his guitar, and he lip synced the song, and we had it in front of a green screen. And then we went on to a location about, probably 2 miles, and he just walked around, and there was 2 billboards there, and he walked around, he stopped and looked at the billboard, and he tried to get in a couple businesses that we knew were closed. And then in the final post-production, Jeff Herberger had him on the billboards and just put it all together great. And like I said, I think it might have even been less than 2 hours, but definitely no more than 2 hours to shoot this music video. And it really came out the best, and it may have the most views too, but I know everyone loves it.
Yeah. My next question to you is, what is the most challenging or difficult part being in the entertainment industry?
I would say it's financing, getting money to do stuff. You can't do this stuff free. And mostly in the early days, and still to this day, I use my own money. Now, there have been people along the way who have wanted to help out for their own personal reasons or whatever, and but mostly it's having the financing or being creative. One thing my advice to anyone who wants to do a movie or anything, they say, as soon as I get 20,000, I'm going to make my film. No, just use whatever you have. I used to tell everybody I did everything for $100 because that was all I was putting out at one time. I would make a deal and I would say, well, I'll give you $100. And then I said, then I'll give you another $100. So I was only, spending $100 at a time. I was never giving anybody thousands of dollars or whatever. And try to use everything that you have. We've used my house, the main floor, the basement, the backyard. We've used that, the front yard. We've used that in a lot of different productions, filmed from different angles. And then find people who have locations and who are sympathetic to what you're trying to do, and who will let you use the locations for free. And that's what we did. That's what low-budget independent filmmaking is about, making do with what you have and who you know. And it's a good point, who you know, because the most important thing that I have going for myself is the personal relationships that I have built over the years. My father always told me, treat everyone the same. You never know who you're talking to and what part they may play in your life later on. So I took that to heart. So I am good with everybody, and I'm polite, and I'm friendly, and, and I put out a good vibe, as we like to say. And it's worked, because if I need, a friend of mine owns the store, and I'd say, hey, how about, could we come in there and film, and we'll show your sign and all like that, and they said yes. And then sometimes people have come to me, hey, why don't you use my place, for one of your movies? And that's how we got into Tracks on Wax, the record store. They actually asked if, we could come and film there. And that's happened a couple times where people said, why don't you come to my house and film? Or why don't you come to my store or my business? So, if you're likable enough, people will try to help you out. Don't ever try to act, like, well, I myself. I never act like I'm a big shot producer and all arrogant and all. And because I don't look at myself that way. I would be nothing without the people who surround me. And I've found some of the most talented people, and I bonded with them. It's because I never went to film school. I never went to recording school. But I found out who was best, and I got close to them, and they helped me out. Sometimes, I had to hire people. One thing I also learned, when you hire somebody, you can ask them a million questions, and they're pretty much obligated to answer because they're on your payroll, and they don't, they like being paid. And so they're not going to say, no, I'm not telling you that. So that's how I found out a lot about recording and making movies, is by hiring people. I actually hired somebody, a graphic artist, to do one of my album covers, who was also in the film business. And I got a lot of knowledge about the film business. And actually, he was telling me, like, hey, they're getting ready to make this movie, or you should see this person and try to get in. And I have fun being in these movies. I like being on both sides, making them and being in them too. So,
yeah.
And I'm usually in at least one movie a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to be on both sides of the angle, in front of the camera, and it's also nice to be, behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Dahl, it's been a pleasure talking to you and hearing about your career and advice and experience, and it's been a real thrill talking to you.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Trey. I really enjoyed being on your show, and I'm going to tell everybody to tune in.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And that was actor, producer, director, all-out entertainment guy, Mr. Lee Dahl. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of the Monday. The next interview will be Thursday when I interview Mr. Bob Thibodeau. Now, I know you heard that name because he's been our announcer. He's no longer an announcer, but he was our announcer for 3 years. And he was a guest before on our show, and I've done his show numerous times. My good friend, Mr. Bob Thibodeau, Thursday. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.